Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This time to the uh, little disguised tavern, not even marked on the map, here in Drannor. It's quite a handy little stop-off point for what I've been doing at the moment with Fools for recharging mana using the broccoli juice here, because the purple bosses in Drannor, which are going to be the subject of this video, are quite big mana sponges. At least in my case, I found that to be true. Hope everyone's having a good day. I've brought you here to kind of kill two birds with one stone. If you saw the Druid series, you'll have seen that I was lukewarm on the Arcane Pulse, but I wasn't really testing it in the environment for which it's meant. I think where this excels is against, well, raid bosses particularly, which we're facing two of here, so you'll be able to see that. And any kind of nasty end boss, or like a Doom Reaper, or something that just isn't going to die in a couple of seconds, basically. Particularly considering we don't have ruins on this build, and at least one of our biggest attacks, the Zero Comet, is on a prohibitively long cooldown. So if we can get this thing stacked up, and bear in mind, because we have this enhancement in our Megas tree, we can stack it up to 7 times. It's actually pretty effective. You only have to renew it once every 16 seconds once it's on full stacks. You can get it stacked up fairly quickly because you can hit it once every 3 seconds. And when it reaches that stage, outside of the Reaper nerf, I think I've got it critting for around 10,000 damage a time, which compared to what melee and range can do is neither here nor there, really, is it? But as against other stuff I could be doing, it's quite a nice little thing to be having. So just remember to press the X every sort of 10-15 seconds, and keep throwing in whatever else is off cooldown. You might notice as well, I've brought the cold light of the moon back. I've begun to be using that quite nicely as well. Reasonably long cooldown, but nice to have around a group of people, because as you can see there, slows movement of anything inside it apart from a boss, and 5% incorporeality to all allies. So, and then there's the explosion at the end if it plus the ticking damage, of course, but the explosion at the end deals a nice little chunk, so there's that too. I've got into the habit of throwing that down underneath whatever target I happen to be going against. That these big boss things are particularly good for that, because the worm just seems to sit there in one place anyway when you get close to it, so you can just throw that down and forget about it. I'm making use of the time stop. Again, these big things are a really good exercise for that. But just in general, I've been quite pleased with the way I've been integrating that into my gameplay. Like at the start of the Vision of Destruction raid, those nasty Orthons, throwing one of those in there really accelerates their demise, and so lessens the nasty impact they can have on our squishier party members. So yeah, all that to say that I've brought the Arcane Pulse back. The opportunity cost is probably a epic spell power positive, I think. So our heals are decent anyway, so not particularly noticeable. And just an extra 5% crit damage off other spells. But to have this to be able to contribute in return, because I have been taking him into 1 or 2 raids as well, and when it's the typical raid is just hammering away on a boss or other big target, so to be able to contribute this thing into there, and also the Moonlance is particularly good in raids for, where are we, where does it say about the, there we go, for those stacks of vulnerability it can apply on hit. Well, not just can, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. So 5 stacks of vulnerable every time it hits. And if we keep throwing the thing in there every time it's off cooldown, we should be able to build that up very nicely. I don't know whether it tracks those separate to what other people are doing, but I notice a lot of purple numbers when he's in those raids, so it must be helping a little bit. Right, what I thought I would do, take you to see both of the Myth Drannor rares, like we did the Dino ones some time ago, and we'll have a look afterwards at the kinds of things that that could be found, because I've taken the liberty already of looting 7 of the 8 chests I'm allowed. I'm not particularly hunting for anything from them. I just want to show you what kinds of things can drop. As with the standard Myth Drannor quests, they have added some of the rare, I think rare meaning 5% chance loot to both purple names, so there's that possibility as well. If I understand it correctly, if there is some name loot rolled, then there's a 5% chance now. It used to be 3%. There's a 5% chance now that it could be from the rare selection instead of the standard named loot, if that makes any sense, and if I've understood it right. So we're going to start with the dragon. Now the dragon is closest to there are 2 teleport sides, the east and the west, that you can access when you've completed various specific Myth Drannor quests. For the eastern side, we need to have beaten the Drow. I think it's on the Trail of the Drow Kidnappers, it's called, and then we can teleport into here. Make sure if you're doing it repeatedly that you reset the instance if it's still going. Otherwise, your boss will still be beaten and won't be able to be found again. These things are, I won't say always up, but very often. The worm is almost always there, and the dragon has a pretty good up rate as well. The dragon to get to is in a cliff, sort of a little cave inside, tucked into a cliff face. So you will need featherfall to avoid plunging down into the water below.
Built their own neighborhoods, dreamed their own dreams.
It's a little bit fiddly to get there, but not too bad. The locations are marked on the map with the green star here, so you can see Cliffside Cave. That's where he is, just before this bridge here. And I'm using the wings to give me featherfall to just slide down slowly. Okay, so we can see his outline there, so he is there, or you can listen for him snoring. We're going to do the buffs. I'm going to take advantage of the examine window for the first time against these to see the timing of the things, because we've got 2 things. We've got the stacking arcane pulse. We've also got our creeping cold and greater creeping cold, and we can see our freezing spray debuff that goes on him as well. So we can see some of that, and also there'll be a stacking acid damage over time that will go on him. So we can see hopefully the effects and when they wear off, when it's time to recast. I'm notoriously bad at doing that, but hopefully I can at least watch the arcane pulse up to 7 and keep it there. And you should hopefully be able to see that ticking force damage every 2 seconds or so, giving us a nice little thing going on in the background while we do other things. So we're going to get rid of the minions first, or try to. come on. Not doing me any favors here, are you? So as soon as he wakes up, we'll get the examination window on and get stuck into some damages over time. I want to stay out of those wild magic zones, because really horrible things can happen if I do some casts and I'm in there. I'm bearing in mind that I have time stop ready, so I'm going to wait for full stacks of Arcane Pulse before hitting him with that. These things on the floor, just keep an eye on them, stay out of those and stay healthy. So we can see now, how many stacks do we have? Oh, only 2. I must have let it run out, that's my bad. Where are we now? 5 we're up to. I try and do Moonlance and then follow it if it's off cooldown with the 0 degree comet, so the comet does more because the Moonlance has made him vulnerable. Still not up to full stacks, that's not good. Six. That's 7. Okay, we're going for the time stop and all the big attacks we've got, and of course he's knocked us down when we've done that. So I lost most of the benefit of my time stop there, which is unfortunate. We are managing to keep the Arcane Pulse going though. Nice, okay. So, pretty rubbish on my part with the manoeuvring and all that, but even so, we got the job done. Would be lovely to find a rare item with the recording, but I'm skeptical. Oh, that's not bad. We got... That's what you tend to get. The dragon seems to have a more generous drop rate than the worm, or maybe it's just my luck with the dragon. I've got quite a lot of these Fallen Age weapons. There's a system with these, a bit like the thing in Vecna, that you can trade any 2 of these at the vendor in the public area for one specific one that you would like. Now, if you're lucky enough to get a Golden Age one, which is the rare drop, which I have never actually seen, you can, same system applies there. You can trade 2 of those that you might not want for one that you do from the same vendor. I wish you could do the same with these gems. So that the gems, unfortunately, are on the loot table as well, which is causing a problem in trying to hunt named loot in this pack, because it obviously reduces your chances to get actual items, or if you're looking for a specific augment gem, you have less chance to get that as well, because they're bundled in with the standard named loot. I kind of wish that they would be in their own separate thing. I'm just gonna try to, what was that? That was a negative thing, wasn't it? Was it a Luna? That one. I'm trying to put them all in the same inventory area so we can have a look at them eventually and see what we've collected for our 16 chests. The worm, you need to complete the speculum quest, which is this, I forget what that's called, but that's the closest teleport to, so I need to reset. Actually might not have needed to, because we didn't face the worm this time yet, did we? But the number of times I've wandered in having not reset it. So yes, just next to the speculum, and then we kind of go in an easterly direction.
Inside this hall. Here they demonstrated new spells.
Not too far again to run.
Arcane materials. It was one of the last places to fall.
And again, marked on the map with a unearthed passage. Of course, now I've said he's almost always there. He'll find a way to not be there this time.
Infest the ruins of the fallen city. One of them has clearly made this cave.
Oh, there he is. So we're just going to charge up the mana a bit because he really is a mana sponge. Try and go with the same strategy, keep the ticking things going. Send the big attacks in when they're off cooldown. Hit him with the time stop and hope to be a bit more successful than we were last time with that knockdown thing.
I'm ready to ship out. Where away?
Do it quietly. The only thing that's stopping me from silencing the sentient gem, by the way, is I do have Black Razor in 1 or 2, and I'm really quite keen on that one. So I'm going to wait until I get close to him. And now we're going to throw in the lightning, so hopefully he's going to stay there. Try and keep the stacks going as best as we can. To 5 arcane already. Six. Okay, that's 7. Let's do the time stop. Hit him with the big things. So now I just have to keep topping up the arcane pulse. You can see it's on a 15-second cooldown thing. So provided I hit it once in that time, we're still good. Now just focus on the other things we can do, like the creeping colds, which I'd forgotten. Put some more lightning in.
Blast it!
Blast it, we're doing alright. Throw that light of the moon thing down just for a bit more every time it's off cooldown.
We both noticed what
Nice, not too bad.
Ready, soldier?
Helped, of course, enormously by the fact not too much was coming back our way, so I was able to just watch what was going on with the effects and re-trigger as necessary. Go on, give us some. Oh, we got something. Now that's actually a tasty item for paladin types. And small spoiler, I do have probably the most ambitious project I've ever done coming up on the paladin side. We've never done a paladin on the channel. The only time I ever did a paladin, really, to do it properly, was the very first character I ever made. I was following a newbie build guide on the forum for a paladin trapper for new players, and through no fault of the builder, the build I'm sure was fine. My gear and game knowledge was so bad that I was getting my ass handed to me on heroic hard more often than not. Oh, what's happened there? I think the game has crashed. if I am still recording here, I'm going to. What was I talking about? I was talking about Paladin. Oh no, we're back on it. I don't know what the hell happened there. Okay, let's just claim this before it does it again, whatever the hell that was. Yeah, so I had troubled times with that early Paladin, but they did have a pass, and they've become very strong now, haven't they? Strong offense and very good, well, a good mix of offense and defense. And somebody's recently posted a build in the forum, which has encouraged me to try sort of long term, because I don't have any gear or anything like that, and move one of my characters onto that play style. I thought it would be a good thing. Give it a go. I'm sort of going to chronicle in passing the searching for the loot and the various set bonuses we look for, and how we go about doing some of the crafting. It's been quite a process, and I'm not even halfway through yet. Some of it involves raid gear, so that's encouraged me to join in a bit more than I normally would, perhaps. So it's all been good, but that's to come. For the moment, we're going to have a look now. So this is 16 chests worth, so we can see that more or less we've got one item per chest, which isn't a bad drop rate. 50% of them about are these fallen age weapons, so if there was something that you particularly wanted, I'm sure you could quickly let's just show you the vendor. Is it that one? No, that's general vendor. There is a specific vendor for these things. Is that here by any chance? Yeah, this looks like it. So legendary, whoops, legendary trader. So I could throw a couple of these in now. What's something I don't think I'm ever going to use these things anyway, am I? And you see, it gives us the option, two weapons in, and we can take one that we'd like. As it stands, I think I'm going to end up feeding these anyway, because I don't have anything I would really like out of them. So we got some little augments as well here. If I can, why won't it let me hover over that? So we got no, it's not letting me for some reason. We got a negative one, and I think that's a threat decrease. You're not going to let me see these. All right, we could. Oh, why can't we see these things? What's going on here? If I put the thing on, will it let me see it? I don't know if there's a bug going on here. No, there's something definitely buggy here, isn't there? So I'll have to do the long story short version. We've got we saw the ring anyway, didn't we? The ring that would have been good for a paladin. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other named rings, some of them duplicated. None of them look too bad. They both got 2 slots there. But the real interesting one is that one there, the legendary Cloak of the Warblade. For some reason, he's letting me see that one. Now, that's classed as a rare drop. I don't know whether I'll end up using that, but it does have a Myth Drannor Sun augment slot and some reasonable stats, a reasonable balance between offense and defense there for perhaps for a melee type would make most use of that. So maybe for that paladin project I could find a place for that. I don't know. It's certainly going to be locked, that one. Why won't you let us see the... Oh, it's oh, I don't know what's up with it. Why is it not... Oh, now we can see. So we've got one that's kind of like the rail workers boots from Vecna, haven't we, there, with all the standard resistances on it. Another one there that might be decent on a paladin, extra smites, but the rest of it's more towards cleric, I think, isn't it? Turning type stuff. Something there perhaps for a DC caster. Is that the same something? I think it is. And then we've got similar but different stats. That looks like more for a caster nuker type. And then that one, as mentioned, the Temperance of Belief there would be a good defensive one for a paladin. So you'd get 20 MRR bonus for a pure pally, along with some other half decent defensive stats there. Okay, so the takeaway from the thing as a whole, the too long didn't listen, would be Arcane Pulse is a pretty decent source of ticking damage against the big bags of hit points. And there is a reasonable drop rate of the more bog standard stuff from the two purple named in the area. Although you're going to have to go much more if you're after these rarer type things. There is one cloak that drops. I can't remember if it's from the dragon or the worm. I think it might be the worm, that gives a legendary bonus to hit points. I think 15% bonus to hit points. And the real surprising thing is it gives that for even the heroic version. So it's another one like this Sacrarium Suncatcher helm from the Dino area that gives the same Profane 2 bonus for heroic and legendary. I've no idea why they are doing that. Maybe it's some programming thing that means they have to do it that way. But 15% legendary bonus to hit points on a heroic item to me seems ridiculously good. And you could use the heroic item as part of a legendary gear set, I guess, because you could put whatever you wanted in the sun or moon augment slot as well, and it's still giving that 15%. I mean, that 15% is better than the 10% I can get from taking the Titan's blood feat at 34. So that's how good that is. Right, I think that's about it for this one. Hope it was alright for you. Sorry for the blackout at the end. I had no idea what happened there. I will speak to you next time. Take care.